So how prepared is the United Kingdom for such a terror attack? This is what we know so far.
C'est un acte de guerre.
What these terrorists want to do is to change our way of life and to destroy our way of life. We will do everything we can to make sure we keep our people safe, but we live in a very, very dangerous world.
Well, giving his first live interview following Friday's attacks now is the Metropolitan Police Commissioner, Sir Bernard Hogan Howe. We thank you very much for taking the time to join us this evening. What changes have been made in Britain's major cities to our policing since the Paris attacks on Friday night?
Well, first of all, one thing we haven't changed, Kirsty, is that we've continued to work with our communities. Our community policing is out there. We're making sure that we're looking after all our community. There's a grave danger that people try and divide off our minorities and try and drive wedges there. We're not determined that won't happen. Secondly, of course, what we've done is to look at what happened in Paris and how would we have responded to that. So certainly here in London, we've increased the number of firearms officers we've got available. And of course, we've got to get ready for the England-France game tomorrow night. We've got to strike the right balance between trying to reassure people and obviously keep them safe.
Well, just for a moment on that England-France game, as you say, it's tomorrow night at Wembley. You say you're increasing your police presence there, but what would be your direct message to people, maybe people with kids who were going to take them along who think, you know what, it's not safe, we're not going? What would you say to them?
Well, first of all, go along. I mean, we believe it will be safe. We've got, obviously, the terrorist threat level at the moment right across the United Kingdom is at severe. So, of course, you know, in the background, there's always that running it there. But we have no intelligence there will be an attack on this game. What we're doing is putting officers there to reassure people. I think people would expect it's a common-sense response. France were playing Germany a couple of nights ago in Paris when these terrible attacks happened. Here they are, the national team of France, coming here to London. We want to keep them safe. And we want to make sure that the 80,000 people who are expected at the ground have a great night. So the officers are there for reassurance.
Sorry to interrupt you there. We've heard from our Prime Minister in recent days at the G20 that the intelligence services are going to see an increase in their manpower. That is a medium to long-term change. One might think that increasing your manpower on the streets and more armed police on the streets is what we need right now. Have you been given that guarantee from the Home Secretary that you will get the funding to do that?
Well, of course, we're talking all the time to government about resources, about the number of police officers, and particularly, obviously, our community officers, particularly supporting the intelligence service, our counter-terrorist investigators. And, of course, sadly, as a result of what happened in Paris, the number of firearms officers we have and how we deploy them. I've taken immediate action. I've ordered that we have a different number of officers out there. We've increased the number of officers there 24 hours a day, and we've changed the way that they're operating immediately. But, of course, government will have to consider how they respond as well, and we're talking all the time about how we achieve this to keep people safe into the future.
This, of course, is a big challenge to you and your police force. It's a big challenge to all of us, to all the many millions of Crime Watch viewers who are watching tonight. What's your message to them about how to keep themselves safe?
Well, first of all, to reassure them. You know, we've got an excellent security service. We've got an excellent police force. The best way to keep ourselves safe is good intelligence. So just through your programme, just to ask people, if you see something unusual, you're worried about people getting radicalised, you're worried about people who might be getting involved in terrorism, tell the police. I know that you're going to show the telephone hotline for people to ring us. People do that all the time. So first of all, we've got to have that good community link. The second thing we've got, which is a great strength, is a fantastic security service, both the external and the internal, who are working hard to garner that intelligence and then make sure that we identify the suspects who are out there. The police, we're here to do two big things, Kirsty. One, where we get a case that we can put before a court, that's what the police officers do. We take that intelligence, we look at what these people are doing, we build a case for charge, and then it's up to a court to decide. And finally, sadly, should these people ever get through, as we saw in Paris the other night, it's the uniformed officers who are there to respond with firearms, of course. We aren't an armed force. We don't seek to be an armed police force. Our great strength is not being armed. But when we get this sort of attack, we've got to be match fit, we've got to be prepared to intervene and make sure that people are kept safe and arrest these people should they ever get through.
Sir Bernard, thank you for taking the time for joining us here on Crime Watch tonight. Remember then, if you see or hear anything suspicious, contact the police or call the confidential anti-terrorist hotline on 0800 789 321.